Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Oshawott Draft League. This is your commissioner speaking, and we'll jump right into this exciting week. First, we will talk about the first battle of the week. In the first battle this week, the Striking Talons demand another win and triumph over the Shell Shocks. This leaves the Striking Talons with a 3-0 record this season. The battle was close throughout, but ended up going to the Striking Talons because of their greater experience in battling. Coach ChaoticXie of the Shell Shocks has definitely gained more knowledge and has done more research on battling, but still has some gaps in his knowledge. In this battle, he told his Crabominal to use Earthquake against Rotom Heat, who has the ability Levitate. He also did not order his Pokemon correctly, leading to Hisui and Zoroark not coming in disguised as another Pokemon. Overall, the battle seemed close, but the Striking Talons had the advantage all along. Now, we will cut to Battle 2 this week. The next battle was the Wixom Wakes against the Team Regigigas. Coach Datum of the Wixom Wakes continues to have some of the best team building skills in the league, shown by his wins in the battles with many of his own team left over. This week, his Blastoise, Roshi, did a lot of work, picking up 3 KOs in the battle, and leading to the Wixom Wakes having the victory over Regigigas. But overall, the entirety of the Wixom Wakes came together to defeat Team Regigigas. In the end, King Gambit tried to set up and sweep the Wixom Wakes, but it was too late, and the remainder of the Wakes came together to defeat him. There's not too much to say about this battle, except that Coach Datum was rightfully feared from the beginning because of his ability to counter all of the other teams, and looks like he might win the championship this season. We are excited to see how Week 4 goes between the Wixom Wakes and the Striking Talons. It will show us who is the true leader in the league this season. Now we will cut to the third battle of this week. The third battle of the week was the Scale Chop Samurai against the Medali Mouseholds. Coach Jay Smitty of the Scale Chop Samurai makes a big misplay by not calculating in the extra damage from Terra Normal that Mousehold had, allowing for Mousehold to knock out Lucario as well, losing 2 Pokemon to it instead of 1. This tilted the odds in the favor of the Medali Mouseholds. After that, Skeletor pretty much cleaned up the game for the Mouseholds, giving them a decisive victory in the end. This led to the Medali Mouseholds gaining a large boost in standings for the league. After talking to Coach Jay Smitty, he says that he overthought too much while building his team and wishes that he could go back to his original plan. As you can see in the battle video, he had Rocky Helmet on his Lucario to deal with the Mousehold, thinking that he would live and could set up with Swords Dance to hopefully do a large amount of damage to the rest of the team. He would not tell us his original plan, as he hopes to use it in future battles. Now, we will cut to the final battle of this week. The last battle of the week was the EV Elite against the Gooning Gamblers. This week, the EV Elite took their first win, with a 5-0 game against the Gamblers. This battle was interesting, as both teams had lost 1 Pokemon, and then there was a disconnect. We had planned in the league that either both coaches had come to an agreement over what should happen, or there would be a total rebattle, in hopes that the commissioner would not have to step in. But the coaches agreed to go back into another battle with only the 5 Pokemon they had left in the original battle, and they would lead with the Pokemon they had out just before the disconnect. After this, there was a long stall battle between Cresselia and Raging Bolt, ending with Cresselia coming out on top because of the limited PP on Raging Bolt's moves, along with Cresselia having Moonlight to heal itself. After this, Cresselia continued to sweep through the remaining 4 Pokemon, giving the EV Elite their first win and making Coach Izzy very emotional. Along with this, it boosted Cresselia up way in the MVP races. We will now be going over the moves that were made on Free Agency Day this week. Welcome to Free Agency Day. This week, it was Memorial Day. So, because of this, instead of having our Free Agency Day on Monday, we switched it to Tuesday, and here are the moves that were made. First up, the Gooning Gamblers. They dropped Garchomp for Haxorus. It seems they want to go more all-out offense because of the last few weeks that has been used against them. And this coming up week, they are going against quite possibly the most offensive powerhouse of a team in the Medali Mouseholds. Next is the Striking Talons, and they drop Iron Valiant for Greninja. It seems that they couldn't find much use in Iron Valiant because they did not trust being able to set up a Calm Mind or Swords Dance. It looks like they hope that Greninja is just fast enough and its abilities will help it blossom. Finally, the Medalli Mouseholds. They drop Torkoal and Chi-Yu to pick up Tornadus Incarnate and Iron Valiant. It seems that the Mouseholds no longer want to have a Sun team or any form of weather useful. Instead, they just want to go all out offensive prowess. And now we'll go to the interview that we have lined up for this week. Coming up, we have an interview with the coach of the Striking Talons, Razor. He has agreed to show his view on the league and just answer some questions as one of the undefeated coaches in the league. And now we will cut to the interview. Well, hello, Coach Razor.
Hello.
Let's start out very simple. Please introduce yourself to the people.
Hello, I'm Razor. I am the coach of the Striking Talons, and I am currently 3-0 in the ODL.
That leads to our first question. How do you feel being 3-0, and how do you feel about your upcoming match this week with the only other undefeated team?
Yeah, so it feels really nice to be 3-0. This is my second draft league I've ever done. And on the first draft league, which was the GDL hosted by a good buddy of mine, I went 0-7. I did terrible. And I learned why I did terrible, and I made some big adjustments to the way I drafted as well as how I'm battling. And I think you can see a very vast difference. Um, so I'm really, really proud of that. I guess you can give me an award for best improvement. No, I'm kidding. So my upcoming battle against the Wixom Wakes, my buddy Adam. Um, this battle, I have my game plan already. Like he has a pretty massive weakness to ice. So you will find out that I made a change to my team, which is I dropped Iron Valiant and brought in Greninja. And the big reason for that is I'm gonna be the fastest ice beam in the world. So and also Dark Pulse will destroy his Jirachi. Um so like I have my game plan, but I know Adam is a more experienced battler than I am. So I'm a little nervous. But I think I'm pretty well off on this fight. Um, like I said, I know his team weaknesses. I think I have a more well-rounded team than he does in terms of like type coverages. So I think I'm gonna be okay. But I'm more than happy to take a loss to him because I know he's more experienced than I am. So if I lose, that's cool. I will learn from it and I will move on.
All right. And if you had to pick one, which Pokemon would you say is the most valuable so far on your team?
On my team, well, let me ask you a follow-up question. You mean as a whole or in relation to this battle?
As a whole.
Ah, as a whole, let's see. That's a hard question because all of my Pokemon are extremely valuable in different ways. But if I were to go with a single choice that has been a defining Pokemon in my team, Slitherwing. Slitherwing is an absolute monster of a physical attacker, and Slitherwing forces all of my opponents to play around just him because first impression is that deadly. And Slitherwing has a lot of moves you would not expect to see on a Pokemon like that, like dual wing beat, flame charge. I think it even learns Trailblaze. It also gets Morning Sun. So if I wanted to do like a defensive Slitherwing, I could absolutely do that. Um, so Slitherwing has just been an absolute beast. Um, in so many of my battles. Even in the prior draft league where I went 0-7, Slitherwing was a massive player. Massive. So I think Slitherwing is my MVP for in terms of team value.
Makes sense. From what I've seen, he has been very scary and taken a lot of KOs just by switching in after they knock out something else and just immediately destroying them.
hmm
Is
It
there
allows
any
me to switch into a
Pokemon? Oh,
defensive pivot.
yes. Is there any specific Pokemon that you wish you could have drafted but missed out on?
Ho-Oh.
I mean, he's still out there.
No, he's not. He's not. He's not legal. He's banned.
Well, is he banned in this league? Oh, I'm
He is
sorry.
banned. hmm
Hmm.
Regenerator Ho is too strong.
It's very
Re-
scary. Any Pokemon with
Regenerator Ho
Regenerator
is
can be scary.
insanely strong. Oh,
Any
it's
Pokemon
too
with
good.
Regenerator.
It gets Sacred Fire and Regenerator. Just imagine that combo. You come in, you burn, you leave. Come in, you burn, you leave. Come in, you burn, you leave. It even gets access to Light Screen. Like,
Eh,
but I mean, in terms of legal Pokemon, I really was interested in drafting Kyurem or Kyurem, however y'all pronounce it. Um, but it wasn't a high priority, and so I was kind of saving that pick for one of my last ones, but then it got grabbed. But then after seeing the rest of the draft, I don't think I needed anymore really, so I decided to let it go. Um, but I think Kyurem was probably the only other mon I would really like to take.
I'm pretty sure that it was Josh that ended up taking Kiram, right? I
Jishipoo,
believe he
yes, the
stated
mouse
that
holds.
I believe that he stated that it's the highest base stat total in the entire draft. So it could have been scary, but I think your team is scary already, so I don't think you had to worry about that.
That's true, and I have lots of ways to deal with it too. Like Slitherwing alone will one shot that thing. So
Well,
also
as y-
any Draco Meteor will finish that thing off right away.
as you are
So
undefeated, do you have any big goals for the rest of the season?
remain undefeated. Um, well, there's that. That's probably the big goal, but mostly I really want to make playoffs. Just have that accomplishment. If I get to the top two, that'll be a really important moment. I think that'll be a great confirmation of my improvement to draft battling. And obviously winning the thing will be just another thing to have a drink over, like just it'll be awesome.
Well, just so you know, everybody does make playoffs in this league. The perk that you
Oh,
get for getting top rating is that you get to pick who you fight in your first round of playoffs.
oh, I don't remember us discussing that.
So whoever gets first place gets to pick who they want to fight. Most likely it'll be eighth place, but they could switch it up if they think they have a really good matchup against someone, and then second
Huh.
place gets to pick the next choice and so on.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Oh, that's
So
exciting.
so if first place just so happens to pick second place, then it just skips down to third place gets to pick next.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I figured, and maybe I misheard this during the when we were drafting. I thought maybe playoffs would just be the top four since we only have eight. But I guess if everybody's making playoffs, then my new goal will be to make the finals. Then
Good goal.
win to
And
win
then
top eight, win top four, and then make it to the finals.
and then this is kind of the same as earlier when I said, "Are you? How do you feel about the battle against Adam?" But is there any particular opponent you're still looking forward to facing?
The Gooning Gamblers. The team's pretty terrifying. Um, and I mean yourself as well. Like your team is also scary. So I think you two are probably my top two that I'm like really interested in fighting. Um, the mouse holds also have a kind of a scary team, but they have less options because they only have 10 Pokemon instead of 12. Um, and the Gooning Gamblers also only have 11, but there's still more options there. But the mouse holds have I have like just comparing the teams, my Pokemon versus their Pokemon. I think I have the advantage in terms of types and variety. So I think the Gooning Gamblers is probably the matchup I'm other than the Wicks and Wakes as what I'm looking forward to the most.
I just want to point out because I felt the same way going up against the Gooning Gamblers, but they are currently 0-3, which
Oh, I know.
surprises me because their team looks very scary.
It is terrifying. The
And then
funny
I
thing is, I
also
lost to that Bramblegast in the GDO.
oh,
I lost to that Bramblegast.
and then also I wouldn't completely count the mouse holds out because they have a lot of offensive threats.
They do.
I think
But
their big problem is that they don't have a
Meowscarada
big
is the only
defensive.
speedy boy.
Yeah.
Meowscarada is the only one that could possibly outspeed my team. And it's squishy AF. So if let's say I don't know, Focus Sash on Slitherwing, and it goes up against the Meowscarada, Meowscarada's dead. If it even outspeeds after using First Impression. It also dies to First Impression, so there's that.
All right, and then the final thing is just, first of all, I want to compliment your background because I've seen it a lot, but I just love everything that you have in the background.
Thank you.
I'm especially jealous of all the Pokeballs you have because I really want those, but I don't have the money to get that right now.
Oh, don't worry, they'll be available for a long time. I'm collecting all of them. I'm only missing about 5 of them now. Um, but yeah, the Master Ball on the far left was out of production for a long time. There was only a limited amount. I managed to snag one, but they're available now in what bigger stock now. So if you wanted to get one, you could.
And then my final thing is just, do you have any final comments you want to say to the audience or to the rest of the league? Make a statement.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Justin, for organizing this. As I mentioned to you some time ago, I've been enjoying the living hell out of battling. Um, no, I just want to say GG's to my opponents thus far and to my future opponents. This has been fun, and I'm very excited to continue battling. And to the audience, thank you for watching. Thank you for enjoying this with us, and I hope you're looking forward to some more battles.
All right, thank you. Now we will cut to league standings and MVP race after week 3. In first place is the Wixom Wakes with plus 11 and 3 wins. Second place close behind is the Striking Talons with 3 wins as well, but only with a plus 9 differential. And then far behind, along with the rest of the pack, is the Medalli Mouseholds, who have a plus 2 with 2 wins and 1 loss. Below that, you can see that Crocodile is still in first place. He was not brought this past week, so he's still in first place from his dominant showing in week 2. But we have a new second place in the MVP race of Cresselia. She's tied with Volcarona with 6 KOs and a differential of 4. This week really boosted her up with her 5 KOs and she didn't get knocked out. Volcarona is falling behind though, as he has not taken any more KOs since his first game. And then in fourth place is Glaceon with 5 KOs and still a differential of 4. In this league, KOs are much more important than the differential. So, because they only have 5 KOs instead of 6, they are in fourth and not tied for third. Now, we will go to final comments. Next week should be very interesting as all the matchups are important. The Shellshocks and the Frigigigas are going up against each other as the 2 teams in this league with the least amount of experience. Following that, the Gooning Gamblers and the Medalli Mouseholds have coaches that are best friends in real life, making it a must-win game for the 2. Both teams have made some changes in free agency this week, meaning that the battle could be full of a ton of surprises. The Scalchop Samurai and the Eevee Elites have a similar dynamic between the coaches, with Coach Jay Smitty saying that he has some crazy ideas that he wants to try out against Coach Izzy. And then finally, the 2 undefeated teams of the league so far, the Wixom Wakes and the Striking Talons, are facing off this week. Whoever wins will end up being in first, and they will show the league that they should be feared. Overall, I'm very excited to see how this next week pans out, and I hope that all the battles are filled with a lot of excitement.